Joining us now, Alan Saunders covers the Steelers for Pittsburgh Steelers Now. WPXI. We're excited to talk to Alan. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm loving the music there. That's quite the appropriate intro.
Oh, yeah. That's the right way to bring in somebody from the Steel City.
The black and yellow.
I'm sorry I missed you late night at Prime 47 this year at the Combine. But had I seen you there, I would have asked a simple question. What the hell are the Steelers doing with Aaron Rodgers?
They're trying to have him be their starting quarterback, I think. What Aaron Rodgers is doing is an equally valid and slightly more mystifying question from my standpoint, because I can't imagine there being a better scenario for him than coming to the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think you can kind of look at the Steelers like they're a little crazy for wanting this as bad as they seem to want it, and yet he has not jumped at the opportunity. So,
that's the question.
We're all just waiting to see what's going to happen.
That's why we asked the question, because the Steelers has always been that top-notch franchise that don't deal with a lot of BS. And they seem to be changing to just deal with him. And I don't know how – they have success no matter what. Aaron Rodgers is not necessary for them to have success.
Yeah, but they haven't won a playoff game, man.
They haven't.
They've had regular seasons. So
Aaron may sign and don't show up. You know how he is.
So, Alan, let's start there, dude. I am not surprised a talent like Aaron Rodgers was able to punk around the Jets organization. The Jets just aren't the strongest organization. The Pittsburgh Steelers, however, have been one of the strongest organizations in professional sports probably in the world. Nothing is bigger than the Steelers, and yet here we are. What is the latest? What are the folks there saying? What does Mike Tomlin say about this?
Well, I think they think he's their best option. They don't want to commit to anyone long term. They think that, it's obviously not a great quarterback class. They're picking at 21. They have I think, third fewest accumulated draft capital in the class because they traded their second for DK Metcalf, which they needed to do. They had very little at wide receiver last year, and it was a big problem for them. But I don't think they think trading up in this draft class is realistic. The draft happens to be in Pittsburgh next year. They've got a boatload of comp picks coming their way in 26. It seems like the idea is trade up in the first round in 26 and go get your quarterback at home in front of your own fans. Oh, and by the way, the guy from Penn State right down the road is going to be a first-round pick. Seems like a good situation.
Huh.
So when Sam Darnold comes open, he wants a commitment. He wants somebody that wants to give him a shot to be the guy. And I don't think the Steelers had any interest in that. I don't really think they had that interest in Justin Fields. They would have kept him. They liked having him, but they didn't want to commit $40 million and say, yes, you're our guy. Here you go. They want a bridge quarterback. They want a guy here for 1 year and maybe part of another one. And when you look at those options, I think Aaron Rodgers is probably the best player out there.
I tend to agree with you, but is there any concern in Rodgers' ability to at times kind of nuke a locker room?
I think Mike Tomlin feels like he can handle anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that we may find out that is not correct. This will certainly stress his ability to do that. But I think he believes you could give him any group of personalities, and especially for 1 year, he could make it work. But I think that's why Rodgers had to come to Pittsburgh. They had to talk. They had to meet, because it's not going to be like it was when he was with the Jets. He's not going to be the general manager and the quarterback. Like, he's not going to not come to minicamp with the Steelers. I'll tell you that. Like, they're not going to put up with that. So, like, that process had to happen.
So they've had three coaches. So I would guess that they would side with the coach. And if that's what the owner's going to do, then I can understand dealing with Aaron. But as JP said, the dude, he separates teams. He may not make the coach do anything, May not make the front office do anything, but he make teammates take sides, and that's a bad thing in this league.
It is. It is.
B, let me ask.
Losing does that too.
Yeah, it does.
Let me ask you, B. If you have, I mean, maybe Washington's going to see that not even close to similar. I don't even want to make the comp. But like if you're a veteran locker room and you feel you're a quarterback away, can you take on perhaps a prick of a quarterback if you know it puts you over the edge?
If he comes in and follow the rules and show you that he's 100% in, but if he doesn't show you 100% in, that will cause little factions in that locker room. Because there's going to be guys that love him. There's going to be guys that question him.
And I think his personality lends itself to that. I think there's already that before he even gets in the building.
Yeah.
I think he's such a public figure that I think a lot of people already have a preconceived impression of him at this point.
Yeah.
Talking with our friend Alan Saunders, covers the Steelers here on the Rude Guest Hotline. Alan, what does your gut tell you? Are they going to get Rodgers in Pittsburgh?
I think it'll be Pittsburgh or nowhere. I don't know that I have a gut feeling about predicting what Aaron is like. Nowhere else makes more sense.
Yeah.
But like he could decide to retire. He could decide that he wants to wait and not sign until August, wait for somebody else to get a starter hurt because he doesn't want to go to OTAs and training camp. I don't know. Like these all feel plausible to me, and I don't really know how to handicap them. You need an Aaron Rodgers whisperer, I guess. Ask Pat McAfee. He probably knows, but won't tell you.
Is it Aaron a bust?
I can't imagine him going anywhere besides Pittsburgh. Nothing else makes any sense.
What
is it Aaron a bust?
Yeah, like what happens if it isn't Aaron?
That's a very good question. I don't know that there is I think it is possible they could go turn back to Russell Wilson. But man, it would not be pretty. Like things got interesting at the end of the year. They lose 5 straight. Some relationships were frayed in that time, I think. And it's pretty clear the Steelers really don't want him back. But he would, at that point, be clearly the next best option. I think maybe at that point you start to try to make a trade. See if you can pry Malik Willis out of Green Bay. See if Tennessee will part with Will Levis after they draft Cam Ward. I don't know, something like that.
What's the pressure like on Tomlin? All he does is have winning seasons, but I mean, you know better than me. When's the last time they won a playoff game?
It's been 8 years since they won a playoff game. I think there is some pressure to just like that. I don't think he's in any danger of losing his job anytime soon or anything like that. But I do think like this is an organization that is trying to win, not trying to rebuild, even though they are rebuilding. And so I think like there's not going to be. I don't think there's a lot of appetite to like just play Mason Rudolph, take one on the chin this year, have 5 wins, and get your quarterback that way. Like that, I don't think that's going to fly. They've got to try to do both, and that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I get it. So, when do you think you get an answer on this?
Man, I wish I knew. I can't imagine them going into the draft without a quarterback and coming out of the draft without a quarterback. If it gets to the draft, they're going to have to like trade back up in the second round to get Jalen Milroe or something like they can't let the draft go by without protecting themselves. And so I think that's pretty much the hard deadline there.
Wow.
And your gut says it's going to be Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
I think so. Yeah. It's just, they want him. He's got nowhere better to go. And I think Tomlin will not be afraid of coaching Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think Tomlin will actually, in his own sort of perverse way, will be excited about the difficulty of coaching Aaron Rodgers. Like, that will get him fired up. He's not going to run away from it.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
Is there any part of you that's excited to cover Aaron Rodgers in this situation?
I mean, I'm sure the traffic's going to be great. I'm sure my bosses are going to be very happy with what's going to happen. In fact, it has been already. Like, it's already been this thing, he's not even here yet. I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, I didn't get into this business to, like, deal with drama. I just want to talk ball. If he'll talk ball, then it'll be great. If he won't, it'll be less than great. But, like, Russell Wilson was an exceedingly nice guy, and he never said anything meaningful about football ever anyway. So, like, I don't know. My motivations are different. I'm sure I'll be very well read if the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, for sure. I do wonder, is there any chance they'd bring Russ back?
Maybe.
Did any of, like, the Russ BS start last year, or did he fly right the whole time?
It kind of happened at the end of the year, like, and honestly, even after the season, there was some reporting that, like, he was frustrated with Arthur Smith taking away some of his ability to change things at the line of scrimmage while the team was losing 5 straight games, and he was turning the ball over at the highest rate of the season. And I think things kind of spiraled out of control there at the end. I don't know. They say they would bring him back. I'm not sure how much I buy it.
Interesting. Is Arthur Smith back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Arthur Smith is back.
All right, Alan, we got a boogie, man. Thank you for the
I
time, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Alan Saunders, Saunders, SAUNDERS _PGH.